So welcome to your first hands-on look at the brand new Holiday Express train. This is the first Winter Village Collection set that we are actually going to be paying $130 for instead of $100 like we've been used to with the Winter Village Collection. So there's a lot to unpack here, a lot to talk about. Thanks to LEGO for sending this set over for review, and let's jump right into the details. So here is the LEGO Holiday Express train, which is the 2025 Winter Village Collection set release. This set is very similar to the version of the holiday train that they released back in 2016, and we'll be talking a lot about that in this video. Like I said, it is going to be the first Winter Village Collection set that's going to break that $100 price barrier, and we're definitely going to get into that more. It's going to have 956 pieces, which is unfortunate because that's actually the lowest piece count we've had for the past 7 years, basically, in a Winter Village set, going all the way back to 2018, despite this set being $30 more. So not starting off on a great foot here, in my opinion. We've got 4 minifigures total in this set. First are these 2 pedestrians here. Can't say either of them thrill me. They're both pretty generic minifigures. Then we get this train driver or engineer, very close to the 2016 train version minifigure, but I do like this minifigure a little bit better than the previous 2. And then the conductor here is definitely my favorite minifigure. I really like the torso printing with his vest design. But again, if you look closely, it's probably going to look slightly familiar to you if you built the 2016 version of the holiday train. On to the build, though, you get 2 manuals, no stickers in the set, which is good. There's a bunch of train track in the box, along with a total of 6 bags. In the first manual, you're going to get this small bench waiting area with a lamp on the side. There's a couple smaller builds, like this smaller helicopter that mimics the city jungle helicopter. There's also this boat here, which I'm not sure if it references anything in specifics. And then we get this small excavator, which looks like it could also be referencing the larger excavator city model or even a Technic model. And then lastly, you build this little small like mini diorama city, which is okay. It's got a little letter up front here, which is printed, and I'm assuming that's a letter to Santa. And then the last thing in Manual 1 is this small little Christmas present that comes in the set, probably the highlight of the set for me. And inside this Christmas present is the first ever fully 3D printed piece in a set. The printing on this, I've got to say, is really well done. You attach a few separate Lego pieces to kind of finish out the train locomotive, but this thing can actually slide along the table, and the wheels and the smokestack will actually move up and down, which is absolutely amazing. For something so small, I was actually blown away by this little 3D printed piece. So I'm hoping we'll see more of that. We're going to get right back to the Christmas train, but quick intermission to talk about the sponsor of today's video, FlexiSpot. So as many of you know, I did a lot of my building and Lego reviews on my kitchen countertop for many years, but I moved within the last 6 months here, and I've always wanted an adjustable desk, and FlexiSpot was actually kind enough to reach out to me and send over the Calm Air adjustable desk here, and also this cross-legged office chair. And I'll say this, for someone that builds Lego all the time, edits all the time, this adjustable desk has been an absolute game changer. Just to be able to sit down and build for a couple hours, and then after 5 hours, want to stand up and be able to just lift the desk right up and stand while I'm building is incredible. Not to mention, there's a drawer, so if I have a couple knickknacks, I can store the knickknacks in the drawer. It's got all the controls over here on the right-hand side, so I can control the desk. There's a child lock on there. And then the other side of it is, which I've always wanted, is there's a charger built right into the desk. So if I want to plug in my phone to keep it charged while I'm editing, or even just if I'm watching a show, be able to plug in my iPad right from the desk is just incredible. So I've been using this desk for a little while now. I've been absolutely loving it. The base is super sturdy with the steel frame. The white top is really nice. You've probably seen it in quite a few of my videos at this point, but there are other customization options as well. That's just kind of what I went with. The H1C chair is super comfortable. If you've been looking at or wanting an adjustable desk or a nice office chair, FlexiSpot is an amazing option. And the other thing that I really like is they're super affordable. So I'm going to put my link down in the description below. Like I said, there's lots of different ways you can customize your desk. So click on the link down below. It is an affiliate link. It supports the channel, so I highly appreciate that. But with that said, thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to this holiday train. Getting back into the review here with the actual train itself. This is all going to be built in Manual 2, and we're going to start off with the front locomotive. I really like the colors here on this locomotive. There's a little printed tile with the set number up here at the front, and then there's a couple basic details on the back of the train where the train driver or engineer is going to stand. And probably the best part of the locomotive here is the fact that when you actually move the train, which you'll see here in a little bit, the smokestack actually goes up and down, which is pretty cool. Looking back at the 2016 set, which to be fair, I never built, so I'm not fully versed on that train, but looking at the pictures, it's not exactly the same, but again, you're going to notice a lot of similarities from this train to the 2016 train. The next car here is somewhat of a storage carrier, but doesn't have a whole bunch to it with the exception of like these wreaths on the side. And then I guess here on top of the storage areas where you can put some of those smaller extra builds. The next car is this brick-built polar bear. Not the best looking polar bear I've ever seen in my opinion, but again, it does have a little bit of motion, which is a highlight, so its head and its arms do move, and we'll see that in just a second. And then at the front of the car here, there's actually a place for that earlier diorama that I mentioned that can actually be placed up at the front of the build. The last car is the passenger car here. It's kind of decorated like a giant present with the removable top that has a bow on it, which that does look pretty good. And then inside, it's pretty simple, not a whole bunch going on here, just a table and some chairs. Lastly, we get 16 tracks that come with the build. They can be configured into one full circle, which is nice. So you could put it around a train or around your winter village if you wanted to. And then again, the motorized functions are not included. They're going to run you about $100 if you don't have any of them. I had 2 of the 3 pieces, so I was not able to motorize this while doing this review, but I know I'm now going to have to go pick up that last piece. But regardless, you can either push it manually or you can configure it up with the motorized functions, which is cool, and then that way your train can run automatically when you're putting it up for display. All that said, I did enjoy the build. I can't say it was amazing. It didn't necessarily blow me away. It's a pretty simple build. It's a simple train. Probably the highlight for me, again, has to be that 3D printed piece. That was pretty cool. But outside of that, I would say probably the highlight here is just the fact that it's kind of like almost essentially a re-release from the 2016 train, bringing it back in 2025. Yes, there are differences, but there's also just a lot of similarities. Very close to that 2016 train from everything that I'm seeing, even though I didn't build it. Just looking at pictures, you're getting something very similar. But for me, that's kind of a drawback. I would have liked to have seen maybe something completely new and different. I like a good train, so just getting a new version of a train would have been cool to me. But I think a lot of people will like the fact that they can kind of get their hands on the 2016 train if they missed it. So I think for a lot of people, that will be a positive. But overall, on build experience, I can't say I was blown away here, so I'm not going to put the grade super high, and I'm going to put it at 29 out of 40. On display and play, it will be a fun little set to have around during the holidays. It's going to be nice for a lot of people to be able to set it up with their winter village scenes in the holiday season, but for me, it's not anything amazing as far as a display piece. Yes, it looks nice, but it's not an incredible attention getter from everything that I'm seeing here. And then play is kind of in that same realm. Trains are inherently fun, and just the ability to kind of add the motorized functions and be able to motorize it and see it ride around on the tracks is cool. But again, it doesn't wow me personally, so I'm not going to go super heavy on the display and play category either. Overall value is definitely where this takes a little bit more of a dip for me. So obviously, this is the first year we're getting away from that $100 price point, which is really unfortunate and hopefully not a sign of things to come with the $130 price tag being kind of the norm moving forward, but I guess we'll find that out. Not to mention, I'm also a little bit frustrated with the much lower piece count than the last previous 7 years. Granted, we do get 16 train tracks in this set, which are more expensive pieces than your typical Lego piece. And also, if we look at the $100 price tag for the 2016 set and adjust for inflation on that set would actually be $130 if it was priced today. So there are some similarities again. However, I've kind of gotten used to these Winter Village collection sets being a really good value at that like 6 to 7 price per piece mark. And we've had that for quite a few years now. So it's definitely just for me a shame that it's jumping up to almost 14 cents price per piece for this year's model. Not to mention there's roughly another $100 in motorized functions here that would be needed to just make the train run. So you could almost make the argument that the set with all the pieces and motorized functions is well into the 20+ cent price per piece range. There's also no major value here in the minifigures here from what I'm seeing. They're all pretty generic. And then the only other thing in this is the 3D printed train, which is really cool. It might be worth a little something, I'm not sure, but I don't really see it offsetting the cost a ton. And then the other thing is, especially when you consider the fact that you can get the $300 Orient Express train that has almost 2,500 pieces, is super detailed, almost looks like the Polar Express. And then obviously that's also retiring this year. So where do you really want to put your money? That's just my take on it, but I would probably sooner get the Orient Express than I would this new Holiday Express train. As far as what you all thought of the set out in the community, seems like a good majority of the community has been relatively positive towards this set, with right around 70% of you all voting this set alike. From what I'm perceiving out there, it appears that even though this set is more expensive, a train is always something that's a highlight in the LEGO community, and especially when it's tied to the holiday season, it's definitely going to be something that's probably going to sell pretty well. So here's where we fall on the grades for the Holiday Express train. That is going to put the final grade of the set at 71 out of 100. It just barely gets it into the consider buying this set category. So there you have it, falling into the consider buying this set category. For me personally, it falls maybe a little bit more into the maybe category. Not bad, but not super good. I do feel, however, that it was a little bit of a step back from previous years of the Winter Village collection, not only for the fact that I felt like some of the builds themselves were better in previous years, but also the value was a lot more in previous years as well.